let's go ahead and our last guest with us today, Amy Hughes, principal over at Abbott Middle School, which is right there in my neighborhood. Thank you for being with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.
Thank you so much. And I think I'm going to correct you right off the bat because we are referring to ourselves as West Bloomfield Middle School now because 2 weeks ago, Orchard Lake Middle School and Abbott merged a year earlier than we thought we were going to. So we kind of call ourselves West Bloomfield Middle School. So our Orchard Lake kids from down the street feel like they're a part of our building.
So how is that going to work?
We were planning the merger a little bit more slowly, but with how we were starting the school year, and we started a school called Lakers Online for our parents who didn't feel comfortable about sending their students back to school in person. So we surveyed our community rather early, and we found out that around 30% of our parents wanted their kids to go online. And so as we were enrolling students in this Laker Online K through 12 school, which is all virtual, we saw our numbers start to drop at the middle schools. And so Orchard Lake ended up with about 200 students. We ended up with around 500. And so the district said about 2.5 weeks ago, hey, let's just put them together this year. Let's rip off the Band-Aid. And we were supposed to only have all 6th graders this year come to our building. 7th and 8th graders were going to stay at Orchard Lake Middle School. But we decided with the numbers plummeting, we just put them all together. And so the construction on the new building can kind of go ahead. So it's nice to have everybody under one roof. I don't have to go back and forth between both buildings. And that happened 2 weeks ago. So we scratched our master schedule, made a completely whole new master schedule, and then we actually made another schedule based on how we are splitting the kids in half. So half our kids are going in the morning cohort and the other half are going in the afternoon. So how is it going? It's going. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we've all learned during this crisis is you just have to go with the flow. And today's plan may not be tomorrow's plan. It may not even be the plan in 2 hours from now. Pivot, adjust, and West Bloomfield School District has been great at doing that.
Yeah, that's the new buzzword, pivot. And I think if I never hear that again in my life, I'll be happy. But even as yesterday, last night, we were calling teachers saying, hey, we have to collapse some of your sections and we need you to teach an hour for Lakers Online. So talk about, not only us as administration and secretarial staff having to readjust. I'm calling teachers at night and they're like, no problem. What do you need me to do? They've been awesome. So yes, pivot, adjust. Those are the words. I want precedented. I want something precedented.
If we only get through this, I think the biggest concern for so many parents, what happens if there is an outbreak at the school? What's that going to look like? Will you have to then go remote?
Yeah, so I will tell you, we have done everything in our power to hopefully that will not happen. And part of that is how we've scheduled kids. And so half of our student body is going to be coming in the morning. So they'll start at 7:50 in the morning and they're only here until 10:30. And that's Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. Wednesday is all remote learning for everyone. So we're out of the building and they're deep cleaning the building. Students have to wear masks, staff have to wear masks the entire time that they're in the building. The building will be misted or fogged in between the cohorts. The custodial staff has been touch cleaning, high touch surfaces, and kids do not move. Once they get here, they go to one classroom and with a class about 15 kids. So when we measured our classrooms, we said 6 feet apart is around, at the most, 15 kids in a classroom. In our science labs, we can fit up to 18. So maybe we do have a couple cohorts with 18 kids in there. Everyone has a seating chart. Students don't move. The teachers move into the classroom. So if I'm a student in the morning cohort, I start out in room 2A. I have my math teacher first. They teach me for 40 minutes. Then they move and I have my history teacher come in. Then I have my science. Then I have my language arts. So I have my 4 core classes and then I leave. There's a seating chart. So if anyone, let's say a family member comes up positive, we can say, what is exposure? Exposure is within 6 feet apart for a duration of 15 minutes or more. So we don't have to quarantine an entire class. We can quarantine maybe the kids around them, but not an entire class. So we've done everything we possibly could to mitigate that. But we know that it's a chance, and we're ready for it if it happens. We're ready to teach virtually, but the idea is not to be teaching virtually to an entire school, just maybe certain cohorts.
So, as the principal, what is your biggest concern? Or are there so many?
Yeah. So my biggest honestly, my biggest concern is our staying right now is 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks. So right now, my biggest concern is making sure that kids get here tomorrow off the bus and where they're supposed to be. That's my biggest concern, honestly, and safely, and that we and that kids feel when they come here, like you were talking about the first day of school. So I think our kids are feeling like they're excited about their first day of school. It's going to look different than they've ever had before, but this is still their first day for some sixth graders. It's their first day of middle school, and they're excited to see their friends. And the reality is they're going to see 15 of their classmates for the entire day. And coming in and out of the building, they may see more, but at least they're with teachers who are excited to see them, who have been planning all summer for this to happen, who are, I think the kids right now, the biggest thing is not the clothes shopping, but the mask shopping. How do you bedazzle your mask? So my biggest concern is making sure they get here safely and where they're supposed to be. That's my biggest concern right now.
So you all have been working so incredibly hard since March to get to this day. You've done all this work. You put the policies and procedures in place. At the end of the day, they're still kids. How do you keep them socially distant and to follow this? And, and it might be that you can control it at the school level, but then if they walk home, they tend to, still, get close and walk together and things of that nature. So you can't control all of it. Is that, that has to keep you up at night.
So we do talk about that, the irony of what all the things that we're doing in school to make sure that they're socially distant. And the second they get off that bus, they're at each other's houses playing video games and whatever. But that's, we've promised the parents that when they're here, that we will do whatever we can to make sure that they are safe, they're not being exposed, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And we do know that they're middle school kids, and we play the what if game all the time. What if this happens? What if this happens? So we have plans in place for a lot of things that we know kids are going to do. Kids may pull down their mask. Kids may get closer than they're supposed to. So that's just conversations that we have right at the moment. So we set clear expectations at the beginning. We get their buy-in. We say, hey, you guys, doesn't wearing a mask suck sometimes? Like, we hate it too, but we really want you to be in school. We want you to stay here. And so in order for that to happen, this is all the things that we need to do to make that happen. And if kids see that you understand what they're going for and you feel the same way, they're kind of like, I can do that. I can do that for 2.5 hours. Because Mrs. Hughes is doing it, and she already told me she hates it too. So, but I can do that because I want to be here, and I want to make sure that that I'm doing the right thing, so that all of us can stay here. I always say I can't think of. I can't say this on camera. I can't think of the things that kids are going to think of that we're going to have to tell them not to do. There's too many. Right. They think if you think you've got all the list of what you should tell them not to do, and they the next day come up with the greatest things that you have to say, I wish I would have had that on my list to tell you not to do. So, we're middle school, we go with the flow. Anyone who works in middle school knows this age group is special and unique, and they've got a lot of energy. And, we're just used to middle schoolers. We love them, and we just go with the flow. Whatever they come up with, we're gonna be there to talk to them about it and say, how can we do this differently? Because this isn't working.
Principal Hughes, we have about 30 seconds left with you. Quickly, everything is changing so rapidly. Anything that you need to get out there to the parents and to the students?
Oh gosh, so many things. I understand that we send out emails daily to parents about what's going to be going on in the school, and just if you could keep up with our emails and our communication. I know that we have not done like an orientation, but when we go back to phase 5, because we know that this is all temporary, and we will be going back to 5 days in person learning, hopefully sooner rather than later. But when that happens, just, if you have any questions, or just don't hesitate to call us, to text us, to communicate with us and let us know. But we know this is all temporary, and send your kids to school saying this is another exciting adventure, and what a cool thing to be able to do, because we are one of the few schools in Oakland County that are bringing kids back to school face to face. And I think that if they see that we can do it, I think you'll start to see other districts following suit.
Thank you so much, Principal Hughes, with the new West Bloomfield Middle School. Thank you for being with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.